everyone, welcome to the Broom Closet. I'm Seka, and you clicked on a video where you're gonna see me spin some wool. Seka, why are you spinning wool, you may ask yourself? Well, it's because I didn't have enough hobbies to begin with, and I thought it would be fun. So what you are going to see is me using a supported spindle and spinning a roll lag of wool that was given to me. I took approximately 2 classes, and the rest I watched on YouTube, so I may or may not be doing it the correct way, but you're gonna see a little technique, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how witchcraft is connected to the art of spinning wool. I actually had been wanting to learn how to process wool and spin it into yarn for a long time, and I found a class online and I took that class, and then after maybe a month I realized I had heard before through my priestess training that spinning wool and distaffs, the thing that was used to hold the wool, were part of the magical realm in which we live. A few years ago when I took the priestess course, our very first class was lectured by a guest speaker, and her name was Max Dashu. Max Dashu was the one who founded the Suppressed History Archives in 1970 to document the global women's history. She is also internationally known for her visual presentations, DVDs, and webcasts. This woman is amazing. So her first lecture, we discussed her book, Witches and Pagans, and I'm going to link it below. All of the information I am relaying to you is through this book. If you're interested, go find this book. Over the next few minutes, you are going to hear me slaughter a lot of probably really beautiful Icelandic words and terms, and I apologize in advance. I will try my best. One of those words is going to be vulva. V-O with the umlauts, L-V-A, and it sounds very similar to an English word we all know and love. However, the word in Icelandic, vulva, comes from the word vulr, meaning wand or staff. And this title was given to the women of the town who were basically their seers, their healers, their knowing women who were very close with the chieftains and the higher-ups in the community. For Max Dashu's book, she says, one of the most venerable poems of the Icelandic Edda was named the Vulva's Prophecy. Inspired oracle prophecy by female figures occurs in the plots of many ages. Most of the descriptions have to do with a woman's knowledge of someone's urlog, the thread of a person's life that leads to their death. And that makes me think of like the fates in Greek mythology or in the movie Hercules. She writes, the witch's equipment is simple: a platform, a staff, a hood or cloak, a skin, rug, kerchief, and possibly a sealskin bag. So if these women were the prominent figures of their villages, of their towns, they knew everybody, they were probably given proper burials with their important tools and important things that they could carry on with them into their next life. And it sounds like until recently, archaeologists discovering the women of the town, who are these seers, were seeing staves buried alongside them, but were basically chalking it up as the female graves having these meat roasting spits with them because women cook, duh, and not attributing it to their status as seer women or witches of the town. If you are able to look through Max's book, you will see some really amazing sketches of what these staffs would look like, and they do not look like meat roasting spits at all. Some of them are very intricately adorned. They have knobs at the top or like where your hand would be. Some are open cage-like, and there are some that even have animal heads carved into them. Max says in her book, most of the surviving staffs were made of iron. Quite a few of them share a design feature in which the rod separates out into 4 or more bars that curve around an enclosed space and then rejoin at the knob near the top of the staff. These formations have been compared to baskets, or called an expanded handle or basket-like handle or open work device. She shares with us that the design of these staffs was actually taken from the design of a distaff. And distaffs were a large rod that usually had a cage at the end where the women would hold the extra wool that they were spinning so that it would all be in one place. And a distaff actually means staff with flax. It also sounds like before witches rode around on brooms, they were riding around on these distaffs. So besides using this distaff for the use of spinning wool and for even calling in their magical properties, they were riding around on them, of course. And not just spinning wool from a distaff and using something like I'm using, which is called a drop spindle, that has this mythological ideal behind it, we also see a lot in fairy tales, the spinning wheel, the wheel of fate, and we see it in the story of Rumpelstiltskin. The girl's task in that story is to spin the straw into gold, and that is witchcraft. Another one is Sleeping Beauty, when Aurora pricks her finger on the spinning needle, on the spinning wheel. And I think we can all see that this spindle definitely looks like a wand. By the way, this spindle was purchased from Art of Siberia. I can link them as well. And I'm not sure if alchemy particularly pertains to chemicals being turned into other things or just the changing of one thing into another, but spinning wool from having this animal grow and you're caring for the animal and bringing it up, and then you are taking care of it by trimming its wool, and then you're taking that wool and cleaning it and processing it, and then you are spinning that wool and you're putting your intention into that creation, and eventually that thread gets woven together tighter and bound up tighter together and made into a bigger fabric. There are other types of spindles. They're known as drop spindles or Turkish spindles, and I've seen a lot of people put their own carvings of runes into them or different chants, prayers, affirmations, and they will use that in their practice, literally spinning the line of intent. So with that little bit of history, if you do spin or if you are interested in other types of magic, this is definitely something to look into because it's so old. At one point in time, your ancestors were making clothes and making things for their everyday lives out of animals' wool. And to them, that may not have been a magical ritual, but it kept them alive. And now today, I think a lot of us can see how much our ancestors had to strive, and if they did not have those clothes on their back this year, they would not be here. So it's because of something like this, something that's so small that we take for granted. We just go to the store or pick up, we just buy off of Amazon. There's really a process that goes into it, and the intention that gets threaded into people's lives is there, and I think that's really special. So something that I did notice when I took the class, there was one technique that we were shown, and that was fine, but really going through and seeing how other people did it was very interesting. So I did learn a little bit on the drop spindle, on the supported spindle, and on the spinning wheel. And if anyone has ever sat behind a spinning wheel, it is very hypnotic. It can put you into this mind frame. I think I listened to a podcast for about a half hour and the podcast stopped, and the little click, clack, click, clack, click, clack of the spinning wheel just had me in a trance. It was very meditative, and I really enjoyed it. So that was a little historical overview of how spinning wool and witchcraft and seers are all kind of connected. I'm not going to go into a deep dive on it because I don't want Max Dashu to sue me. She's an amazing woman. I really encourage all of you, if you're interested, try to get your hands on this book or just Google a little more about it if you're not fully into trying your hand at spinning wool. But it's something to think about, and even if you're a crocheter or a knitter or a sewer, just think how empowered you are, frustrated most of the time, I'm sure, trying to create this piece of art or this piece of intention, and then at the end it's serving a function, even if it's a visual only aesthetic function, how powerful that makes you feel. So this was really fun to do, and I'm still practicing, as you can tell. Everyone, thanks for watching this little video. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.